Hello HMV, my name is Arlo Parks and today I'm going to be talking about the records and the DVDs that I love, that have shaped who I am as an artist and that have influenced my debut album, Collapsed in Sunbeams. Firstly, we've got Negro Swan by Blood Orange. This album to me is an exercise in introspection, in tenderness, in exploring identity. And I actually got it for Christmas a month or so ago. And my favourite songs on this album would probably be Charcoal Baby and Hope. Hope for me is its few elements executed really well. The piano is so warm and gooey, and those drums remind me a little bit of In Rainbows. So definitely a very kind of instrumental album in terms of exploring the more self-reflective side of myself. This next album that I'm going to show you is Uncle Jazz by Men I Trust. Men I Trust are really interesting to me because they have this very distinct and unique sound. It kind of reminds me a bit of Moon Safari by Air. The thing I love about their songs is that there's this sense of innocence and simplicity to them. There's this sense of warmth. There's a sense of nostalgia as well. And songs like Days Go By really showed me or reaffirmed the importance of bass in music. And there's something very dreamy and spacey about this album. I listen to it a lot when I'm writing or when I'm trying to get some inspiration out of a sense of boredom, and it's very kind of meandering but also very self-assured. And for me, I wanted to create this very distinct world of Collapsed in Sunbeams. I wanted my identity as an artist to be distinct, so they really influenced me there. Next, we've got Carrie and Lol by Sufjan Stevens, which is probably one of my favorite albums of all time. This album is about grief. It is tackling very difficult subjects in a very elegant and graceful way. Sufjan's voice is very, very heartbreaking. There's this song called John My Beloved, and he put out this iPhone demo version of it. And it kind of reminded me of singer-songwriters like Elliott Smith, Nick Drake, or Daniel Johnston. And I love the fact that on this album, he's not afraid to shy away from those conversations that are very difficult, conversations surrounding self-destruction, surrounding substances. And I've always really respected Sufjan's vocal delivery as well, because it's always so subtle and heartbreaking. So I'm obsessed with this album. And the last one that I'm going to show you guys is the one for me. It is Dummy by Portishead. This is probably one of the most important albums to me, just ever. And especially songs like For Violet and Bluish on the album. The song Roads on Dummy, it's like the most inspiring song that I've ever heard. Beth Gibbons' delivery is so understated and vulnerable. Her voice is almost breaking as she sings. And this whole album, the drums are incredible. And the drums were something that I really focused on whilst writing this album. That's why I was listening to a lot of Portishead, a lot of trip hop, a lot of Tricky, Massive Attack, also a lot of Silver Apples and Tame Impala. So these four records are very, very important to me, especially in the context of Collapsed in Sunbeams. In terms of DVDs that I love, I pulled up old favourites that really kind of grounded and centered me during this period of quarantine. So I've got the box set of Star Wars. This is something that I grew up on, and interestingly, watching Star Wars during the album making process really allowed me to go back to that more childlike and innocent time. That time of trusting one's taste, that time of thinking outside of the box, thinking in terms of fantasy and being very playful with the words and the art that I was making. And the next DVD that I have is The Trials of Life, David Attenborough. I'm very inspired by nature in my writing. You can see it a lot in Collapsed in Sunbeams, whether I'm referencing fruits or seasons or, tastes, textures. And I think watching these nature documentaries really calmed me and grounded me and got me to a sense of peace. That's why I love artists like Adrian Lenker as well, who use nature as a big inspiration for their work. But thank you, HMV, for having me. I'm Arlo Parks, and I hope that you guys check out some of my suggestions.